Hey everyone and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where today it is time for the fates of Coerthas Western Highlands. Today we are grouping up with just a couple of friends. Most of my friends have been busy during my recording times. Unfortunately, everyone has this thing called a job, which is unfortunate. We're going to start off with Ashy, but later on another friend's going to be joining us. And we're going to start off with Run Riders Run. Outriders belonging to House Durandare have been spotted fleeing from a pack of silver wolves, which, despite losing over half of its numbers to the Knight's Seal, remains in pursuit knowing the Knights cannot run forever. Hurry to the Outriders' aid before their legs fail them. So yeah, we're going to be doing a good chunk of fates in the Coerthas Western Highlands today. Not all of them. There's a couple that are level 57-ish. And we're going to save those for later, but we're going to be doing the vast majority. I want to say around 24 fates. So yeah, this one is just outside of Falcon's Nest, and we're just fighting a bunch of silver wolves until they are all dead. We're also going to be switching jobs a couple of times just as they get leveled up as we go through this. And honestly, commentary is probably going to be fairly sparse throughout this one since it's just a fate grind as usual. Nothing particularly unique about it. The big thing really is just taking care of just showing what all the fates are, where they are, and in particular showing the achievement fates. Honestly, I have been considering cutting back on how I do fate episodes. Like, I still want to do all of the fates once, but since they aren't like a checklist item that you do and then it's marked off in the game somewhere that you've done it, I've been considering dialing back fate episodes to be just like the boss fates that give achievements or special rewards. I have been considering doing that. I have not necessarily decided on doing that yet. I would like to hear people's opinions on this though, if they think it would be worthwhile to just so we don't end up with these like over hour-long fate grinds where there's not really much going on beyond just doing a whole bunch of fates in a row. I don't know. It feels like maybe these full, like, covering every single fate in an area episodes might be a little bit superfluous. And it might be worth just dialing back to just the achievement fates or fates of special rewards. Next up, one whiskey, one goat, one spear. After stumbling upon a barrel of whiskey stored outside one of the convictors' tents, Rheum became one of the happiest mountain goats in Coerthas. Once the whiskey had disappeared, however, he transformed into one of the angriest, destroying large stocks of supplies in a futile search for another sip. Great, we have an alcoholic deer. That's a problem we've got to deal with. Alright, deer, time for you to die. Speaking of, the 30-minute boss fate for the Coerthas Western Highlands is currently up. It is called We Fought a Zoo. Unfortunately, it's already a good chunk of the way into the fate, and we don't quite have enough players yet in order to actually take it on, so yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and wait for that to have a second spawn before we can do it. Alright, and with that one down, we're on to the next fate. Where are we going? I think, yeah, Panic Room's gonna be next, and that's also going to have a follow-up fate as well. This is one of those chain fates. Alright, dropping down on the frozen ponds just next to the fishing hole. Panic Room, avoids them by any other name, would still be as unsweet as the deceptively sweet-sounding gelato. Case in point, the room, though its name is not very sweet-sounding to begin with, In addition to not being very sweet, both are also very deadly. And if the first is not reason enough to cull their numbers, the second definitely is. Alright, we just have a bunch of gelato to kill, not too difficult on this one. In fact, it looks like this goes by pretty quickly. Thankfully, we did catch this one just in time for it to not expire. 3 minutes, we had about 3 minutes left, but still. And the follow-up is Sugar Sugar. One can tell how well-fed an area's residents are by listening to the names given to everyday creatures. Playful monikers such as Tartufo the White Truffle, suggesting that starvation-induced delirium is causing everything to resemble food. Unable to fight on empty stomachs, the people of Coerthas seek a better nourished hero to save them. So yeah, we have 2 bosses for this boss fate, Tartufo and White Truffle. Yeah, Ishgardians seem to not be doing so well in that regard. Each of these bosses counts for half of the progress of the fate, so unfortunately, the fate tracker is just gonna stay nice and empty until one's dead, so... let's go ahead and take care of them. Doesn't really matter what order, just as long as they both go down. Probably best to focus one at a time just to get out of the way quicker. As long as the tank is holding on to both of their attentions. Though it looks like I took up the habit when we were doing this of, honestly just switching between the two. Well, it's not like we were in any real trouble. We had a tank and a healer in the party, so... damage wasn't something we were concerned about, so it wasn't too urgent to kill one ASAP and then the other. And this way I do make sure that both of them have their aggro permanently on me. Alright, there we are. Next phase. Next, we're going to be doing Unsilent Vigil or Follow the Sleet. Looks like Follow the Sleet's what we decided to do next. Just based on how much time they had remaining and how close they were. Yeah, Unsilent Vigil was too close to expiring, so decided not worth it, I believe. Sorry, we did this like a week before I'm doing this post-commentary, so I'm trying to remember exactly what my mindset was back then. Alright, Follow the Sleet, the endless winter brought by the calamity, has rendered the once lush Gorgogne holding a frozen wasteland where naught but man-eating sleet traps thrive. But, as the saying goes, an empty wasteland is better than one teeming with deadly seedkin. So take up your swords and slice away! Let's get rid of these seedkin so they're not causing problems. Alright, just another standard enemy fate where we're just fighting as many enemies as we can to get rid of them. And let me actually double check. I'm pretty sure I'm right that there were 24 fates in the area we took care of, but it's always worth double checking to be sure that you're saying the right things. Fact checking is important. Yep, we did 24 fates, and there are 2 that are level 56 that we're going to be skipping today. Got it. will be having a third person join us. Me and my partner, Thabita, have been trying to drag some of our college friends into this game. And one of them just reached Heavensward like the night before we did this. And at the time we were doing these fates, was rushing through as quickly as possible to try and unlock the Coerthas Western Highlands so that they could come join us. But yeah, they will be joining us pretty shortly. I want to say around halfway through, once they have actually unlocked the Coerthas Western Highlands. Alright, and next up, Dawn of the Mylodons has just spawned. And that'll be our 6th fate, which will put us, when we're done with it, a quarter of the way through already. We're making good progress. There's just a lot of fates to do. Dawn of the Mylodons. Upland Mylodons have lumbered their way atop the Black Iron Bridge to bathe in the short winter sun and refuse to budge, impeding the progress of supply wains going to and from Falcon's Nest. Drive the beast back so that the deliveries might recommence. And I want to say this is another one of those chain fates. Completing this one should lead directly to a second fate. So yeah, just another standard kill all the enemies fate. And yeah, as is a bad habit with us, the enemy spawns in fates, in these types of fates where it's fighting a bunch of enemies at once. The enemies tend to spawn right on the edge of the fate zone, so if you're fast enough with killing them and you're following them to where they spawn so you can kill them quicker, it is very easy to accidentally drift outside of the fate zone and get desynced, which is very irritating, I have to say. I wish the game didn't have this issue. But whatever, not a big deal, just gotta be more careful not to drift out of the fate zone. And this leads directly into the second fate, Dawn of the Mylodons. Displeased by their violent displacements from the sun-baked stones of the Black Iron Bridge, the upland Mylodons have lumbered back, this time accompanied by their great elder Paluda. This time it's just a standard boss fate. That seems to be the case with a lot of these chain fates. Start with fight a bunch of enemies, follow up is a boss. It's honestly not a bad formula. It's just a lot of fates use it. Okay, and it's finally dead. Moving on to the next phase. Next up, we've got a couple of options. Eye in the Sky is nearly done. Or nearly expired. I don't think we have enough time to take care of it, so let's go take care of that Garrison Knights. What other options are there? Well, level 56 Fate is up. Eye in the Sky, yeah, it's too close. And there's another Talk to Someone Fate, which is Bodina the Blunt, which I think has actually been up for a while, so we're probably not going to make it on this, this spawning of that Fate. What did I do to deserve this? I didn't tell that entitled crone to come kneel and pray in a pile of buckshite. You wouldn't want to slay a herd of harmless Steinbocks with the unluckiest knight in Falcon's Nest, would you? I suppose I would like to help, actually. A Dung Deal, a noblewoman who recently visited the Pike and Anvil, lodged a formal complaint with the Falcon's Nest garrison commander, threatening to strip him of his land and titles after stepping in a rather ripe pile of dung left by the Steinbocks which graze in the area. The message is clear, either the beasts go or he goes. Alright then, let's get slaying them so that the noblewoman doesn't get her way. Yet another kill all the enemies fate. Unfortunately, I do believe at this point, Ashy did have to go AFK for a couple of minutes. I believe something came up that just pulled them away for a bit. But Ashy will be back shortly. I believe near the halfway point of this fate is when Ashy's going to be returning to us. Until then, we get to go through it quite slowly with the loss of the DPS, which a healer's not going to be the biggest DPS, but it's still DPS. And yeah, things are gonna go much faster. Ashy is back. It'll be smooth sailing from here. Okay, with that clear, on to our next fate. And how far in are we? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, we're about a third of the way done already. Very nice. Alright, taking off way to the northwest for this next one. Honestly, I thought we thought a zoo was farther into its timer than it appears to have actually been, since it is still up. But still, we don't have enough players to feel confident taking it on, so I don't regret holding off on it till much later. Alright, Land of the Freeze. Ice sprites blown off the windswept Gorgogne holding it into Camp Riversmeet are freezing all the outpost drinking water. Slay the spirits and ensure a thirst stays slaked. Oh yeah, that would be a very serious problem, especially in a place like this. Water is important, but you can't drink of it if it's all frozen. It really is very noticeable just how much of a difference having one additional player makes in how fast these fates go. Really does make it so much nicer have just one additional person. Alright, next up is going to be the Polar Express, I believe, though the Convictor Knight's also going to be one we want to take care of quickly. Just so that doesn't expire and so nobody else gets to it first, because I like reading out the dialogue for those. Alright, the Polar Express. Food is scarce in the snow-covered north, so when Ishgardian knights bring in large quantities of rations to outfit their camps, it is only a matter of time before all manner of hungry creatures descend from the mountains looking for a bite. Drive away the beasts to keep the knights' bellies full. And yeah, this one's basically just fight off all the polar bears, specifically the polar bears. Protect the rations, make sure the knights don't go hungry. Or don't become food themselves. And there we go, got ourselves a level up for Dark Knight from finishing that one. So I believe at this point we're going to be switching over to Machinist. Less defensive, but at least we'll keep our DPS up. Alright, once these enemies have left us alone, that is, we'll be able to switch. Always irritating when you finish a Fate and any leftover enemies just keep messing you up for a little while until they eventually despawn. If you happen to annoy them before they ran off. Alright, next up is In Command. If anything is worse than being mained by an Ice Commander, it is being buried alive in an avalanche caused by an Ice Commander and wishing in the final moments before suffocation that you had instead been mained by an Ice Commander. Rid the area of Ice Commanders and alleviate the need to worry about either. So yeah, these Ice Commanders, I suppose they can indeed command ice. Dangerous when there's all this ice around. Another kill all the enemies' fates. Let's take care of it and then move on to the next. Alright, nice and easy, on to the next one. There we go, and enemies finally left us alone so we can hop on our mounts. Alright, next up is going to be Sick Pack. When the climate in the Highlands changed, once fiercely independent wolf packs began doing the unthinkable. Oh, ran right out of that fate on accident. Why did I go after an Ice Commander? Began doing the unthinkable, combining, forming super packs so as to increase the chances of survival in their new harsh environment. These super packs now pose a serious threat to the night station in the area, and assistance is sought in controlling their numbers. Oh goody. Packs of wolves. That does sound terrifying, actually. Alright, doesn't look like it'll take too many wolves to clear out this fate, so let's clear it out quickly and move on. And this is our 12th fate, putting us about halfway through at this point. Alright, there we go. Next up, let's take care of a Parent Trap. Taking us way back off to the east, back towards the actual civilization in this area. Alright, given what I know of the enemies in this area, a Parent Trap, probably going to involve ice traps. Also, a pun on Parent Trap. Haha, very funny. This game does love its referential humor. There's several that I simply ignored in this Fate episode already. Alright, a Parent Trap. While the name Yeti Trap implies that the Seedkin is physically capable of actually trapping a full-grown Yeti, it is highly unlikely that even a Lalafel's forearm would fit into the plant's mouth. That does not mean, however, that they should be left to roam free, nipping at Lalafelan limbs. Alright, this one is a boss fate, one massive ice trap known as a Yeti Trap for us to destroy. Yeah, that thing is absolutely humongous. It's gotta die. That is terrifying, actually. And down goes the Yeti Trap. Where do we want to go next? Land of the Freeze we've done. That's a level 56. I guess no ifs, ands, or buts would be next. That is going to be a fun one. That is one that I actually mentioned in one of our first trips into the Coerthas Western Highlands. A bit of a silly, kind of jokey fate, we'll say. So, all the way back to Falcon's Nest. The Western Highlands really are quite massive, actually. I'm surprised they got away with this on the PS3, since this was still in the era when this game supported the PS3. Newly knighted Elembert of the Spiked Butt cannot understand why people are always laughing behind his back. So to prove he is worthy of their respect, he seeks a battle-hardened opponent with whom he may cross-seal. You can see exactly why everyone laughs at Elembert of the Spiked Butt. Just read his own dialogue as he goes. It's a duel, a simple duel. Thrust, jab, impale, says the Spiked Butt. Sir, how do you not realize what the issue is? Why did you choose this name? I will not stop until my spear is notched and my butt is blunt. Oh my god. Does he really not get it? Does he truly not get it? I'm impressed, almost. And I believe this one is going to be another chain fate. Get him either low enough or down to death? Like the surging waters of the mighty Coerthas? Oh, he went too fast. But yeah, once he's either low enough on health or we beat him. I think once we beat him. No! Why? Like the majestic Curthan Puffer Icewell, he says. Like the surging waters of the mighty Coerthas, oh my god. Dude, with the relentless sexual innuendo, how do you not see it? Dude, you literally made a... You sure are a person. You have made some decisions in your life. And now that he's down, Null and Void begins. Summoned aeons ago and then forgotten, Bergthers are Void Sense trapped in a realm not their own. Determined to tear their way back to the Void even if it means destroying this world in the process. Adelbert, did you really just flee on me? Did you really just use the Bergthers as an excuse to flee and claim that you were going to win? You damn coward, get back here and help. Well, thankfully, as with basically every other enemy we fought today, the Bergthers are not difficult at all, just kill enough of them. Oh no, Adelbert is helping us. Good, good, good. Hail, the spiked butt returns! I guess he was just taking a break to rest up. He just needed a moment. Fair enough, we did kick his ass pretty thoroughly. Alright, and now that the Bergthers are gone, a thrill it was to fight butt by side. Adelbert still does not get it. Or maybe he gets it perfectly and that's why he's doing it. Alright, next up, what you see is what you get. It is said that when gazing into the eye of the beholder, a man can see his deepest desires, those desires usually involving escape from the iron grip of the beholder's wicked claws. Fair enough. We've got a massive deep eye. Do not look deeply into its eyes. My god, that eye is massive. And we do not have a lot of time to kill it either, so we gotta go fast. And I believe right after this phase when our third friend is finally going to be able to join us. This entire time we were all in a voice call together and third friend was just not rushing the main story, but trying to get through all the cutscenes, the many cutscenes from the start of Heavensward in order to get caught up and unlock this area. Maybe at some point I should get around to actually, you know, recording everyone's commentary, just having it be a group commentated thing when we do Fates. That could be fun. I'll need to make sure everyone's good with that, though. 1 minute left, but we're well over 2/3 of the way in, and we started with 3 minutes to go, so I think we're gonna be fine. Speaking of, there is our friend, Jadani Tia. We'll be getting a friend request and party invite in just a moment. Jadani had not actually done much with my Let's Play character at this point. We mostly play together with me on my main, so... Still needed to do the friend request. Alright, down goes the Beholder. Let's get the party set up, and then we can move on to our next fate. Alright, next fate we are doing is going to be... Those are not new. That's not new. Unsilent Vigil we haven't done yet. I think we're gonna go take care of that one. Alright, Unsilent Vigil. Several Archaeornists have flown over landscapes and begun gathering near the Dusk Vigil. Fearing an attack by the Dravanian horde near, the knights in the area have put a call out to adventurers requesting assistance in dispersing the flock. They only just noticed the Archaeornists. They've been here like forever. There's so many of them in the area. How are they only just noticing? Or are they noticing that the numbers are increasing for the fates? I suppose that would also be fair. Well, with 2 DPS, at least now these fates are going to be going, again, significantly faster, which is very convenient. And it looks like we have a follow-up fate as well. It's a double. It's a chain fate. Pico de Gallows. And wandered right outside of the fate area again. Good job, me. While swift adventure action has left the Archaeornist flock in a state of disarray, the effort may have come too late, as scouts now report the arrival of Picolatan, a terrifying creature known to lay waste to entire companies of knights without suffering more than a few ruffled feathers. Alright, we've got a massive Archaeornist that we need to kill, as well as all of its supports, though the boss is the one we actually need to focus on. Alright, let's take it down and move on to our next fate. Alright, and with that down, I don't believe there are any new fates up at the moment. There's a level 56, but we're not doing those today. So, just a little bit of time later, we went ahead and did some other fates while we waited, and Bodine the Blunt is back. Sir Werner has sullied the Convictor's name one too many times, and I shall not stand idly by as he has the effrontery to snatch glory from the hands of the deserving. Honor binds me from crossing blades with my sworn brother, but it does not bind me from aiding one who might have been wrongly assaulted by a conniving lout of a brother. What say you, adventurer? I'm down to be your excuse. Sir Werner and Sir Bodine of the Convictors have come to an impasse regarding who dealt the killing blow to a dragon pup that wandered into their camp with a broken leg. Unwilling to even agree to disagree, Sir Werner has dishonored the Convictors and must be punished. You two are a mess. Maybe I shouldn't be getting involved in this. Alright, well, let's beat the crap out of Werner. And hopefully that'll at least end the fight. And of course, the fight is not going to end when Werner actually dies. The fight ends at like 5% left. We're not killing the guy, we're just beating him to a bloody pulp. Alright, next up, looks like Abominable Me has spawned, so on to our next fate. Way up to the northwest once again. Alright, Abominable Me, right up here in this little pond area. On especially cold nights, Yetis from the Sleet Mountains will journey down to Dragon's Pit to find warmth in the thermal pools. On their way back, they will off-raid nearby farms, stealing livestock and the occasional child, whom they keep alive until back in their den so they may drink the blood hot. Horrifying, actually. Let's definitely stop this. Before they kidnap any children or steal any raid any farms. Horrid. Thankfully, this is a rather easy fate, since the Yetis come out of their spawn point in this little narrow cave passage, and then they just kind of pile up right here. So you don't even need to worry about, like, collecting them or anything. You just stand here and let them come to you, and they'll just naturally pile on top of each other so you can just AoE away. It's a very convenient fate. Alright, fate complete. Where are we going next? Looks like Eye in the Sky is a new one. So let's sail all the way down there. And how many fates are we up to at this point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looking down my list, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This will be our 21st. So after Eye in the Sky, just 3 more to go. We're almost at the end of this very long grind. It only took us like an hour and a half. It wasn't that bad. It's just also rather long. Alright, Eye in the Sky. Many of the knights stationed in the Coerthas Western Highlands to watch the skies for horde activity complain of a constant feeling of being watched themselves by giant furry eyes nonetheless. Search the area for the peeping prowlers and provide them with a slightly more permanent form of shut-eye. We got deep eyes. What are they doing up here in the mountains, or the more mountainous areas? They're normally in the plains to the east. What do they think they're doing up here? We definitely gotta get rid of them. They're spreading. Alright, dealt with the deep eyes, got a new level for Machinist, but we're not going to be switching to Astrologian because the next fate, at last, is going to be that 30-minute boss fate. We fought a zoo way down in the southern reaches of Coerthas Western Highlands in this big old cave area. Right down in the bed of bones. We have... Numerous are the legends that tell of Zute, a yeti as tall as the Craving Tree and as fast as the Swift Run River, with a temper as hot as the waters of Dragon Spit and a heart as cold as Rime-locked Ash Pool, with hair as white as a flower once ground at Gorgogne Mills, and, in other words, he needs to be slain. We have a massive yeti to deal with. As usual with these 30-minute boss fights, I highly recommend that you come in with a full party. If you don't have a full party, toss out in shout chat that hey, you're going for an achievement fate, a boss fate, and any help is appreciated. Generally, if there are people in the area, more than a few of them will be more than happy and willing to come and help out if you just put in shout chat, hey, doing this boss fate, it's over here, there's an achievement in it for you. In fact, I'm going to get that shout chat. I'm going to start typing out that shout chat right now while we are dealing with a boss. And also dealing with its ads, because this boss does bring in ads every now and then, mostly just a bunch of silver wolves. We'll start getting that shout chat out, and I'll post it at about 27 minutes left on the fate is when I decided to do that. I did a couple of shouts throughout the fate. I think I did like every 3 to 5 minutes. Just to make sure that people saw. Anyone who came into the area saw. And since this is gonna be a while, let's go ahead and speed it up. Though I elected to keep the actual game audio at normal speed because otherwise it would be very disconcerting to actually listen to. So yeah, very, very long boss fight. This one took us a bit. Quite a bit. But we did get like, I'd say 2 or 3 people coming to support us. So it ended up going much faster as the fight went on. And yeah, with 13 minutes left in the fate, we've got 6% of its health left. Went very, very smoothly once we had a few people in supporting. I think we had White Mage and one more who joined us. Thank you very kindly to those who came to join us for fighting Zute. The mechanics of this boss are not difficult in the slightest, but it does have a ton of health. So it is definitely worth having that backup. And our reward is an achievement, A Day at the Zoo, and the earring, Behemoth Earring. Thank you Loto Silver and the others who joined us for that fate. Alright, moving on, we have just 2 fates left in the area. I believe first one we're going to take care of is Requiem for a Dragon. And the other one, I want to say just popped. I think it's the one that comes from the Garrison Knight that just spawned. Alright, Requiem for a Dragon. Ever since its exposure following the Calamity, the ice encasing the dreaming dragon of Ashpool has been slowly melting, releasing into the nearby air the fetid scent of rotting dragon flesh. A stench that is now driving local fauna into a frenzy. Slay the slavering woolly yaks and polar bears drawn to the dragon before they set their sights on you. Alright, 2 types of enemies to deal with, and sadly they're not going to be fighting each other like sometimes happens with these dual enemy fates. Oh well, let's simply kill all the woolly yaks and the polar bears, and be done with it. Then there'll be just one final fate after that. Oh, you know what? No, it's not from the Garrison Knight that the last one spawns. The last fate we needed to take care of is True Convictions, which spawns independently. And once again, wandering right out of the Fate Zone. Good job, me. Very, very good about not doing that. Definitely. Alright, enemies clear, on to our final fate, which is going to be True Convictions. And thankfully, it's nice and close by. Not a far trek at all. Alright, True Convictions, ever yammering about how they seek the glory one might obtain by slaying a dragon. The moment a few Archaeornists descend on their camp, the Convictors turn pleading eyes to nearby adventurers, seeking assistance in escaping the day with their lives, and to a lesser extent their dignities. Good job, Convictors. You're so very, very good at your job. So very good at it. Alright, take care of these Archaeornists, and then we'll be good to go and finish up for the day. That'll be all 24 fates here in the Coerthas Western Highlands that are not the level 56 fates. Genuinely, fighting Zute was like a third of our time. Not quite a third of our time. It was only like 18 minutes. Definitely not a third of our time. Waiting for and then clearing Zute was about a third of our time, I want to say. Because it did take like a good 20 minutes. 10-20 minutes for that fate to spawn. So yeah, it did take... waiting for and then killing Zute was like a third of our time here. So really, it was not that bad of a fate grind. There's just a lot of them. A lot of them. And I got levels on 2 of my jobs, so I'm real satisfied with that. Alright, and with our last Archaeornist down, I believe that is going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me for this fate grinding episode. I do feel like I need to change up how these work a little bit, so please do give your feedback. I am very interested in hearing it in whatever people have to say about the fate episodes. For now, I will see everyone next time for more main story.